I haven't made a video for a while, but I just felt like getting this out. On the weekend, I did a workshop down in Foster, a full day workshop from like 9 till about, I think it was like 6 o'clock. It was lovely. And it was funny because the night before, I got no sleep. I just couldn't sleep with my shoulder where I was staying. And then I was going to stay over on the Saturday night and come back Sunday morning, but I just thought if I don't sleep again, I'm just going to be exhausted coming back on the Sunday morning. So it was about 8:30 at night on the Saturday. I had a shower at my friend's place, and I thought I'm going to go for it. It was a five and a half hour drive back. Now, I like driving with mantras, okay, but I will say this: if I'm feeling tired, they make me sleepy. Okay, they can make me sleepy. Now, I hadn't slept the night before. Okay, so my maps was saying I was going to be getting home about 1:30 in the morning. So I thought I'd go for it. So I didn't put any mantras on. Okay, I have like a playlist of music that I like. Or some of them are like soundtracks from movies, like inspirational or things that make me feel empowered sometimes, and some like happy, upbeat dance songs as well. And so I had like a little playlist there ready, and I felt all right. So I got on the road, and I thought if I need to sleep, I'll just pull over and I'll have a little sleep. So long story short, I basically must have looked like a lunatic because I felt all right, but I was just blasting my music, and I basically danced as I was driving. I was just danced the whole way for 5.5 hours till I got home. And towards the end, I was literally hallucinating. I was just losing the plot while I was driving because I was just so exhausted towards the end. But that was only like the last half an hour. The 5 hours went really well. But I got a lot of insight, okay? So driving down to Foster, to the retreat, I got a lot of insight on what the theme would be on the workshop, and it was around fear. And on the way back, I was just getting, this year, it's already started off with loads of like business ideas and loads of things I want to do, loads of things I want to learn, right? So when I was coming back, I just felt so inspired, right, on the journey back. And there was a couple of times I pulled over to use the bathroom to have a wee, and you're in the middle of nowhere, right? And I'm not kidding. Australia in the middle of nowhere at night, look up, the stars are just amazing, right? So I was just like feeling so euphoric. And I was thinking, this year I want to do all kinds, right? I want to learn more. I want to learn how to dance. I've always loved dancing. I want to, there's all these things. I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to keep learning different things. I want to do this business. I want to do that. And then as I was going, I was thinking, I want to do more now my he's 14 in March. I want to do more like festivals. I want to start going to festivals with my son. And then I started thinking, and I got a lot of insight into like midlife crises, right? And I thought, oh, you guys, I thought I'm going to make a video on this. I thought it was going to be funny. Everyone thinks Nick's going through a midlife crisis. But I actually did get a lot of insight into midlife crises, what they must be. And I think for a man, I thought, isn't it funny how society labels them a crisis? And whether I'm right or wrong, I'm not saying this is right, but this is just what was coming to me. Imagine you have a family, you start a family when you're around 25, 30, maybe 20 if you're young. And you dedicate 20 to 25 years to just providing for the family. Okay, the most important thing is food on the table and roof over your head and all the rest of it, right? Well, when your kid starts growing up, or your kids start growing up and wanting to leave home, if you're in your 50s and you feel good, right? You actually feel good, like your body still feels all right. Maybe you have built something of a good financial security, maybe you haven't, but maybe you've still got loads of energy and ideas, right? Or you just think, you know what, the last 25 years have just gone on being a dad and a good husband and all the rest of it. I actually want to start doing stuff again, right? So if your wife is not on board, and this is the insight I was getting, I was thinking a lot of women, I believe, may have this, buy into this social label that, oh, I'm a mum now, so I can't go to festivals, or I can't do this, that, and the other. And I'm not talking about just losing the plot and taking drugs again and trying to party like you're 20. That's not what I'm saying, because I know that happens a lot. I know a lot of people who have done that, and they've lost, they've lost their marriage and things like that. So there is people who go through crises, and I get it. But I was looking at it from the bigger picture, and I was just thinking, if the wife feels like she's a mum and doesn't resonate, or there's a fear there's a fear of losing her husband, then it's a crisis. Oh, he's going through a midlife crisis. Oh, you're not going through a midlife crisis, are you? Rather than embracing it and having a good time, I think it's just so important to enjoy yourself and have a good life. It's just, if you can, do it. And I was reflecting on how a lot of people who have met in the past from who follow different teachers, or maybe on it, like they follow yoga, or they follow my teacher, or they follow Hinduism or whatever, they can almost carry their new understanding of a spiritual life like a burden. It becomes like a burden to them. You understand karma, karma should be a liberating teaching, right? You're responsible for your life, and anything that happens to you is up to you to transform, and it's things we've done in the past, right, that are manifesting for us to heal them. But some people are so scared of creating karma, which I understand that, right? But they almost act as if they're just so serious all the time. They lose their zest for life, you know what I mean? And it becomes like a burden. I could never see that. I don't see how, if you find spirituality and it's you find the Dharma, and it doesn't enhance your life experience, you may as well drop it, or you've misunderstood it, or the person who's taught it to you doesn't understand it. So they don't understand it, you don't understand it. And that's why as well, I think if you ever come across a true master, a spiritual master, what's that mean? They've mastered their life, right? A true spiritual master is always funny and filled with joy. Okay, so they should be examples to us. And then one of my mates who I hadn't seen for a while, James, he came to the workshop. I haven't seen him for years. He looks so well. And he sent me a message yesterday because he was getting the hang of one of the rope flow techniques that we went over. And he sent me this video of a breakdown of how reality is, right? How reality works with I think it's from the perspective, it's from the perspective of Kabbalah. And it was great. But it's fundamentally, he covers a few things, but he fundamentally sums up how the more we embody the divine qualities, the more we actually become divine. I might say, of course, right? But it hit me really deep when I reflected on it, because what are divine qualities? To be unconditionally loving, unconditionally forgiving, compassionate, kind, peaceful, joyous, harmonious, compassionate, all the rest of it, right? The more we embody those qualities, the more we actually become a divine vessel, a divine channel. When you're around people who embody them qualities, you feel a divine nature in those masters, right? And this is the same principle of the Tao Te Ching. The Tao Te Ching is the book that I've read the most. I've listened to the audio book. I went through maybe 2 years of listening to that audio book on repeat all day, 6 to 8 hours a day. Tao De is 2 books in the one book. It's two separate books. So Lao Tzu starts that book by saying, anything I say in this book is not the Tao. Okay, the Tao that can be spoken in words, comprehended in by thoughts, is not the true or eternal Tao. But he still, in that part of the book, tries to point in the direction of what the Tao is. De is how to live in harmony with the Tao. If we can understand what the Tao is, he shows us and explains to us what somebody would look like if they're living in harmony with these universal laws and principles, right? And De is actually virtue. So it's the virtue that is bestowed upon the earth by the Tao for living in harmony with it. Okay, so repeat that. Just like what I was saying before, the more you embody divine qualities genuinely, so it's not like I'm just going to let everybody in the world know I'm a really nice person and I'm acting, and inside I'm stressed, depressed, suicidal, and hate everybody. No matter how good of an actor you are, if you won't feel divine to people. But the more you actually do embody those qualities, the more divine you become. So with Tao De, the more you live in harmony with the Tao, the more humble, generous, detached you are, the more virtue is bestowed upon you by the Tao. Now, if you try and live in alignment with these principles and embody these conditions to gain virtue, then it's not unconditional. There's conditions on there. Okay, I'm going to act like this so I can get that. You've already missed the point. In fact, you won't get the virtue. It's like, I've heard in the Taoist tradition, they've explained it like a flower. If a flower is blooming in front of you and you're having a bad day and you see that and it just brings you joy and you smile and it transforms how you feel, the flower is getting virtue from you and from the Tao. But the flower doesn't know it's doing it. It's just being its nature. It's just living in its nature. And this is why it's so important to embody our true nature. Because the ego is not our true nature. It is actually almost the opposite of it. It sees itself as a separate entity, separate from the whole. And the more that we can drop that, the more we can drop the human ego, the more we embody our true nature. Okay? So, and by doing that, we are more natural and we live in accordance with nature. Therefore, the Tao bestows virtue on us, right? So, I don't know whether that translated well, but I just got a lot of insight from that. But I just wanted to share how, if you feel like you're going through a midlife crisis, maybe communicate it right with your loved ones, because it's also a beautiful opportunity, I think. Like, we can't always cling to how life has been. For example, a lot of women get clucky and maternal in their 40s, even if they've had kids. My mum did it. I come really late compared to, I'm 11 years younger than my brother. And I think maybe 9 or 10 to my sister. My mum was like 37, 38 when she had me, which was old back then. People are having kids later now. But as I've grown up, what I've understood is, like watching my son develop deep voice and mature and into a young man. For me, it's great. But for my wife, she struggled with it, because it was only like 18 months ago. He was still like, when you see him now, it looks like he's still very young, very babyish, right? So because a mum will miss that, they may want another kid, or they may want a puppy or something like that, because they're clinging on to that idea of still wanting to be a mother and nurture a baby, and the baby dependent on them, right? And I actually know people who've separated because of this, right? So I think if we're very open and honest in our relationships, we can allow stages to pass. Like when you're a father or a mother, you know, your kid might go through some habits or might do some, you know, whatever, but they're all impermanent. They grow out of them at every stage. It's a beautiful life lesson. So we change careers, we do everything, even in our adult life. I think it's important to constantly want to keep growing, learning. But as a couple, in a relationship, if you're open enough to say, you know what, it's a completely different stage in our relationship now, because our son is a young man now, and we've only got another 2 years before he might not want to do anything with us. What do? Do we resist that? Or do we start enjoying different aspects of our life at a different age, knowing a little bit more? And that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. I really want to just keep learning, keep growing, but obviously keeping up your spiritual practice, spiritual awareness. Spirituality for me is navigating the world with an understanding that everything you come in contact with has an essence, a life essence to it that is not what you see physically or the mind. It's not the mind and body of that thing. And your true being is not the mind and not the body. So by doing that, we can navigate and enjoy this reality and be detached from it. And I think that's important for a healthy life and a healthy relationship. So there was no real key thing I wanted to get across here. I just got a lot of insight into this social label of a midlife crisis. And because I'm only 42, so I'm not there yet. I'm not 50, but I was thinking to myself, the mood I was in driving home, I was so pumped and so happy. I thought, if I just said to my missus now, like, this year I'm going to go to these festivals, I want to dance more, I want to do this, I want to start this, I want to, you know, even if she like, because I've always been like that anyway, but even if she just found it funny, even as a joke, right, she could say, you're going through a midlife crisis, Nick? And I thought, for a lot of men who don't, let's say you're in your 50s and you feel like that and you put it across to your missus, if she hit you with that, it's very deflating. And a lot of men might get straight on the back foot, like, I was actually hoping we could all do that. We could all do that together, and you've just sort of, and then they might get angry or say, or you know, defensive and isolate themselves or whatever, and then go the complete wrong way. Because I see it all the time. I really see it all the time. So don't worry, you're not going to see me in a few years with piercings everywhere and a tattooed face and, you know, green hair and that. But not that I've got any hair. But yeah, just thought I'd share that. Hope you're all having a lovely day. Take it easy. I think 2024 is going to be a big year, and I wish you all a very happy new year. And yeah, the future is bright. I think this is going to be a big year for everyone. So God bless.